Well, as you know, the scalability is the holy grail of this space. So if we don't have scalability, we don't have dApps, we don't have anything. So any dApp that really wants to go mainstream, that really wants to grow and really goes to the people, needs to scale and needs to solve. So, and when you are trying to find solutions for solving, then is when you come to the the state channels, to the side chains, and to all the technologies that we have seen in this space. So this I would say that this is a key this is a key point, and of course this is a key event for the space because it's where you see and discuss about the scalability solutions of about many of the scalability solutions that the different teams propose in the space. So I would say that after the two sessions, so yesterday and tomorrow, we have at least a very good feeling of the state of the art of this scalability. Um, and that's very cool, and then also the interaction between the different teams, I think it's also very important, and yes, I'm very excited for the things that we have here in this event.
Yeah, and so what kind of kicked it off was we tried to launch Giveth back in December and quickly realized that it wasn't practical. The cost to donate, we're trying to make things more transparent and cheaper and more efficient, and to donate was going to cost $10 or something ridiculous, which is a no-go. So that was kind of what kicked this whole event off, and it's definitely been helpful to get everybody in the same room talking about solutions and explaining to dApp developers what is available now and what is in the pipeline in the near or distant future.
Okay, so next, if you could just talk briefly about what the most interesting thing that you saw presented was, or what the highlight of your moment was, or something that is particularly interesting that you're taking away.
Yeah, well, for me, the main conclusion of this event is that sidechains are going to happen. Of course, they are not the perfect solution, they are not the last solution, but that's a thing that needs to happen and that must happen. And I expect that this is going to be the year of the sidechains. So this is something that the technology is almost ready. There are start being many side chains, so we expect that in the future it's going to be very important side chains running on the space. So this is probably the good news and the main news. Also, um, we it's important to understand that a lot of the technologies needed to run these side chains is work that will be advanced in the future because when more when better solutions to the side chains like plasma or like sharding, like these state channels start appearing. Well, especially plasma proof of stake, sharding, all these new technologies will need a lot of the things from the normal proof authority side chain. We are thinking about from block explorers, we are thinking about the wallet preparation, we are thinking even about the depths, thinking in the concept of different chains. We're thinking about the users, how the users will interact with these different chains. So there are a lot of things that needs to be developed in advance because we will need it anyway when the new technologies happen. And the other conclusion is that well, state channels it's gonna take longer, and that's probably the two big conclusions that I take away from this from these 2 days.
Yeah, and this I have similar conclusions that sidechains are basically ready. They're going to be the scaling solution that is ready the soonest. There's definitely they're not ideal, but there's a lot of compromises that that you take when we go to the current sidechain solutions, they're viewed as a temporary solution, so DApps can work now and moving and keep advancing to state channels and plasma and these more distant scaling solutions.
Okay, so now specifically, what do you see the design of a 6-month solution looking like? And what do you see the optimal sort of Frankenstein's monster of a solution looking like 2 years down the line? So if you could take a direct roadmap to getting things working the quickest, that's the first one. And then if you could sort of combine the idea of state channels, side chains, something like TrueBit with off-chain verification, all of these things, is there a way that you could design those ideally? What elements would you use them in a long-term solution?
For Giveth in particular, the immediate solution is definitely going to be sidechains. It requires the least amount of, like if you can run it on a mainnet, you can run it on a sidechain, and there's very little changes that need to happen. I think ideally in the future, you're going to be able to have sidechains more plasma-based, and you can submit fraud proofs, and you don't have to put so much trust into the sidechain right now, or as you would right now.
Yes, and probably the interesting thing is all this interchain communication that this needs to be developed. And this is, of course, you start from the mainnet to the sidechain, but in the medium future, we can expect not one sidechain, but many sidechains with different bridges between these sidechains, so that that they continue to be interconnected one each other. And probably if you go faster, because developing a sidechain right now it needs a lot of effort. You need to build these servers, you need to maintain these validators, you need to maintain a kind of infrastructure, you need to maintain a kind of block explorer, whatever. Now there is a lot of pieces that you need to build by your own. I expect that this is going to be more generalized until the point where sharding at the end means that you standardize the way the sidechains are created, the way the sidechains are communicated between them, and then it makes more sense. So all this effort that we are doing now probably is not going to be done in 2-3 years. I expect in 2-3 years you create an application and automatically your sidechain or your shard is created for you, and you have all the pieces set it, and you don't have to worry about this infrastructure setup that we are that's so costly right now. So for me, this is the main roadmap that I see in the future. I'm more skeptical in the state channels approach. I think it's a good idea in theory, but it's very difficult idea to put in practice. So yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see that so clear. There are many pieces that you need to put together, and clients need to be aware, and then you need these intermediate services, and you may end up in a situation where you are trying. That's going to be everything very much centralized, in opposite to what you're pretending to do. But we will see. That's the time will give us the answer.
Okay, so now, so far in the interviews, there's been this common pattern of people sort of, as for long-term solutions, they come down on one of either two sides. They either think that long-term, it's the obligation for the mainnet to provide a unified solution, so that you have something like sharding handling this, or people are coming out in support of sort of webs of blockchains. And the argument that people are giving for webs of blockchains is basically making sure that you don't have a single point of failure. Can you just talk briefly on the relative merits of a single unified solution, long-term like sharding, versus pursuing something more like a web of blockchains?
Well, I think they're going to happen both. There are different technologies in the space, and each blockchain will have his own way to create. Of course, web of blockchains. This is something that's gonna happen, but that's not incompatible with some of these blockchains that develop the sharding mechanism. So maybe it's going to be webs that are going to be bigger, and maybe it's going to be webs that are going to be smaller. I don't know what's going to happen if the bigger is going to take the smaller, or there is going to be a lot of smaller. I have no a crystal ball now to see it, but maintaining. But what I think is that's not gonna be many technologies. So at the end, developing so maybe there is a lot of webs, but they are all of the same kind. So it's a kind of sharding, even if they are absolutely independent. And at the end, there is not gonna be so many technologies in the space, so that they are so different. So the security is not going to make more security because there are many. The security is going to be because there are many technologies drowning in that, and I don't see that there are so many. So yeah, I would bet that maybe in 2 3 years we see maybe two, three, four technologies, each one with many chains. Of course, those chains inside those technologies very connected between them, and then it's going to be some bridges between nets in these technologies, and we will see how they start connected one each other.
Yeah, I think we're headed more towards a web of blockchains and not just a single sharding solution, especially because that's where we're kind of headed right now. Sharding's not ready, and so I don't imagine that everybody's just going to go and converge onto a single solution once sharding is completed and live. I think you're going to end up with a few select kind of standardized ways, like technologies, I guess, like Jordi was saying. And that's where the convergence is going to happen, but not necessarily on just a single Ethereum sharding solution.
Okay, great. Now, if we could just get a sort of summary, what you liked about the event, what you thought was unique about the event, anything like that.
Positive things, right? Yeah, no, for me, I would say that it has been a big pleasure to have these incredible teams here in Barcelona, in my city, seated all of them here in the tables, talking about the scalability, talking about the projects. So only that for it by itself, I think, is very, 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 very has been very, very much positive. Of course, when you do an event of these kinds, of course there are always things that you can improve. It's impossible to do it perfect, but in general, I think it has been a very, very, very useful event for most of the teams. At least has been for myself, and I would expect that events like this um, continue to happen. Maybe not about this, and maybe not in this place, but just around the globe, by discussing different things, different common problems that the community has, and putting teams together. I think it's something that needs to happen once a while.
I think the best part of the event was, just getting everybody together and kind of opening each other's eyes into their particular solutions. And as a dApp developer, like, maybe you're not quite aware of what state channels can offer you, and so having all these different teams and different scaling solutions able to kind of go into depth about how they're solving scalability was very useful. And then just getting everybody in the same room, and yesterday's event kind of was more just the scaling solution provider implementers, just getting them to collaborate and talk. And I think sometimes you can isolate yourself in this space and not realize that another team is doing very similar work, and putting them in the same room just allows, I guess, human contact, right, and advancing each other and sharing ideas.
It's You always learn things. I would say that since I'm in the space, there has not been a single day that I have not learned something. But in an event like that, where you just hear people just talking about their projects, this rate of learning, it's increasing a lot. So um, for me, it's that's important.